Hi guys, welcome back. So today's video is 10 fun family history activities. So I will be listing 10 fun family history activities. This list isn't in any particular order, it's just a list. If you like any of the activities you see in this video, I'll be leaving links to those activities in the description box below. So I guess let's get started. Number 1, Familysearch Library. So I know the Familysearch Library doesn't sound like that cool and fascinating of a place to go, and I will admit libraries generally to me aren't that fascinating, but this place is actually really cool. I don't know if they do it to a lot of Familysearch libraries, but I know the downtown one, the Lehigh one, and I think they're working on the Ogden one, they actually have this interactive discovery section. I have filmed a video of the Familysearch Library. I just haven't edited it yet, but as soon as I get it edited and uploaded here to YouTube, I will link that in the description box below. But for now, I can just tell you guys what it's like and give you guys a little brief overview. So what you do is you first go in and you go to the front desk and you get a tablet, and then you go to one of the mini sections and you put the tablet onto the little connection board, and then it will start whatever the activity is. So they have like one section that's like, are we related? And you can choose through people who've done the activity, or famous actors, or famous people who are part of the LDS Church, or presidents past, and you can click on them and then it'll show you if you are related to them and then how you are related to them. So that's kind of cool and fun. Another section is called All About Me. It starts off with you and it will say, oh, here's your name and here's what the meaning of your name is, and here's things that happened the year you were born or the month you were born, such as how much a movie ticket cost, how much gas prices were, what was the hit song of that year or the mainstream movie, what were the main top news articles of that year or that time frame. And then you can go through and click on your parents, your grandparents, and your great-grandparents and see what was going on when your great-grandparents were born or when your parents were born. You could see what was popular and mainstream or what was just going on in the world. So that was kind of cool and fun in my opinion. And then another section is a recording section where you can record your stories, a story you remember of your ancestors, just anything you want to record. It's just a recording booth and you record what you want. So those are some of the things you can do at the Familysearch Library. Just fun, interactive things to help you learn about yourself and your family history and start that love and passion to do family history work. Number 2, a family cookbook. So you can make a family cookbook in many different ways. So one way would be gather some recipes that your grandparents used or your great-grandparents, or recipes that have been passed down through generations. Gather those recipes and make a cookbook that way. So like my grandma was a pastry artist, and so she actually had created some of her own recipes, and we have made a cookbook out of those recipes that she used for her baking. I know my family did one when I was younger of, we asked all my cousins and aunts and uncles and my grandparents what their favorite recipe is or what their favorite meal was, and we made a cookbook out of that. Another way to create a cookbook is to gather recipes from your ancestors' homelands. You can find some traditional recipes from that homeland, whether it be like your Danish or Swedish or some traditional Japanese or Italian recipes. Try gathering all those and trying those recipes out and making a family cookbook that way. Another thing you can do is right here on Familysearch, they actually have a recipe section. So what you do is you type the familysearch.org, then /campaign/recipes, and it will take you to this recipe section on Family Search. I haven't done a video yet of this section of Family Search. I do plan on doing one, and when I do, I will leave a link to that video in the description box below. But for right now, I'll just do a brief summary of this section of Family Search. So they have a cute little video. I haven't watched it, so I have no idea what it's about. Scroll down and it says gathering your tasty traditions. And then you can add your family recipes and the story for your family recipe. Or you can see some samples, and we'll get right back to that section. And then down below are some people who shared their family recipes and the stories that go along with it. And we'll scroll up and we can now view some sample recipes. Also, that's another type of cookbook you can do. You can actually create a cookbook of stories of how the recipe was created, or how your grandparents loved being in the kitchen and cooking food, or just food related stories. So let's see some samples. By clicking on let's see some samples, it will bring you here to the Family Search blog, and we can scroll down and view some recipes. So we have some simple recipes. What is a recipe story? Food traditions, meaningful mealtime, printables. Printables is actually just like printing the recipe card. And then if you keep scrolling, some other recipes. But let's view sample recipes. And it has now brought us to another page on Family Search blog of some recipes. So we have like Grandma Spencer's pie crust recipe, or homemade donuts, or pole candy, award-winning ham, peanut butter fudge. So we can now click on these, and now we can see the story and the recipe on how to make peanut butter fudge. By collecting some of these recipes, you're going to learn things about your family. Some personal things, such as like what's their favorite meal and why it was a comfort meal for them. Or, you know, what are some traditional foods from your family's homeland. It's just a great way to start knowing your family on a personal level. Number 3, Family Crest. So this one's actually kind of fun and educational. Have your kids make a family crest or a coat of arms or a family shield, and you can have them be creative and make up their own, or you can have them learn the language and grammar of Heraldry. I think that's how you say that, Heraldry, which is pretty much the coat of arms. There's a whole language behind a family crest or a family shield. The colors have certain meaning. The shapes of the whole entire crest has another meaning, or the shapes that are on the crest have another meaning. The symbols have a meaning, and you can have your kids learn all that and then figure out a shield that represents them or represents their family. So you can have them learn some creativity, but also learn the language and grammar of the coat of arms or family crests or heraldry or whatever you want to call it. You can also go through on your family tree and find some family crests or some family shields, and then have your kids decode them. Figure out what the meanings and symbols were on your family crest, and have them learn what your family wanted to be represented by, or what they were represented by. This is kind of a cool little fun educational activity. Definitely would be good to do right before like Renaissance or going to a Renaissance fair. Number 4, immigration map. So this one is pretty cool if you want to know your ethnicity. So instead of going and getting a DNA test and having a DNA ethnicity estimate, you can do it on your own. So you can go get a map of the world and then just follow your ancestors back and see where they were born and mark that little location on the map. And you can go back as far as you want. And if you don't want to do it by hand of getting a map and marking those spots on the map, there are actually a few websites that will do it for you. I haven't done a video on any of these websites yet, but when I do, I will put the links to those videos in the description box below. But for right now, I will do a brief overview of each of these websites. So the first one is rootsmapper.com. So you come to this website and you log into your Familysearch account, and then you click right here on the start, and you can choose however many generations back you want to go. It only goes up to 10, which is what I've done here. And after you wait a while, it will pull up all these little dots and lines and show you where your family's from. And you guys have probably noticed all these little dots have numbers on them. So we can click on one, like this, so we can zoom in and we can see all these little lines and these dots. We can click on one, like this 10, and it says Eleanor was actually born in Indian Territory in the United States, and that she died in South Carolina. Then we can also see these little black lines going all over the map, and that, I do believe, is their descendants and where they all traveled to, down to where my husband is. So that's cool and fun. So you can see where all her descendants traveled all over the world. So you can see a lot of my husband's family is from here on the east coast of the United States. Ooh, that went a little far back. And then a lot of them are English or Scandinavian. And then we have one that's Spanish and one that's Chinese. Granted, when you click on the Chinese one, it's saying that she's from Mexico and died in Mexico, New Mexico. So I don't know why she's in China. That, I think it's just a technical error. But you can now see a map of where everybody is from. So this is the next website. It's called pedigree-pie. You just type pedigree-pie.fhtl. I don't know. You type this in. And then once you come to this website, you log into Familysearch, and then it will show you 6 generations, or you can change the slider and have it go back to 4 generations, or 6 generations is their max. And it pulls up this pie chart of your family tree and color codes it to where your family is from. So, like the red in the middle is unknown. These light blues are United States. These orange is Mexico, New Mexico. Or the green is Denmark. And as you can see, as I'm running my mouse over these little sections on the tree, it's pulling up people's names. So you can actually see, okay, this ancestor with a very Scandinavian name is from Denmark. And if you click on them, it will pull up a little brief page about them, saying where they were born and where they died. This one is unknown, but definitely by the name I can tell it's Scandinavian. We can try, yep, this one, their child was born in Denmark. We don't know where they died though, but we know the year. And then we can click on the view the chart or view them on Familysearch, which I'm not going to do right now. So this one isn't as cool because it doesn't have a map, but it does show you on a little cool pie chart where everybody's from. Then over here on the right hand side, a percentage of what your ethnicity is, which is kind of cool and fun. Number 5, Pioneer Games. So this one's a great way to get your kids off of technology. Have them play Pioneer Games. Have your little girls make paper dolls and play with paper dolls. Or have them play Hide the Thimble or Who's Got the Button or Fox and Goose. You can actually just Google a bunch of old school Pioneer games and have your kids learn these games and play them. Great way to get them to unplug and be away from technology and learn some of the games that we played as kids or our ancestors played as kids. So these are fun little great activities and help them learn to not be so attached to the technology, but also learn some of the games that our ancestors played before technology exists. I will leave a link down below to a website that lists a bunch of Pioneer games, and hopefully you guys can find some games that your kids would like. Number 6, travel to your ancestors. So this one can sound a little big and intimidating. But you can actually make it really simple and easy. You don't actually necessarily have to plan a huge vacation around going to your ancestors' homelands and seeing where they grew up and the homes that they lived in. You can actually do it right from your home, or do a small little road trip. So my husband and I actually pretty much luck out on this. Of our family members have lived in Utah for quite a long time, and we live in Utah. So we can travel to our ancestors' locations or where they grew up. Such as a lot of my great-great-grandparents grew up in Logan, Utah, and helped build some of the buildings out there in Logan. Or my husband's family also helped build some of the main buildings in Lehigh or the Provo Asylum. So we can go and visit those locations that his ancestors built and view those buildings that they helped build. Or if your family members if their homes still don't exist, or they weren't architects who could build the buildings, you can just go and visit their graves, their headstones, where they're buried. I know it's not as cool as going and seeing, the house they lived in, or the buildings they helped build, or the farm that they raised their cattle on. But you can actually go visit their final resting place, where their body is laid down in the ground. And you can go visit them that way. If you don't have the luxury of being able to drive and having a little small road trip to where your ancestors lived, Google Maps. Greatest invention for this. Google Maps it. Google Maps their little address of where they lived or the town that they lived in. Such as my husband and I have ancestors who lived in certain parts of England, and we can go and Google Maps those areas. And if you're lucky enough, you can actually find historical photos of that time frame where your ancestors lived. So this doesn't necessarily have to be a huge travel Europe vacation. It can be a small little road trip to a nearby town, or it could be a weekend getaway to a town that your ancestors lived in. Or if you don't even have the means to do that, little Google Maps road trip or little Google Maps tour of your ancestors' locations. So this one can be a big adventure or as small of a venture as you want. Create your own road trip. Number 7, reenact a story. This one actually is kind of cool, especially if you have little ones who have tons of energy, or you have some of those drama students. Go through Familysearch and find some stories of your ancestors, or it could be as simple as a story what your parents did when they were little or what you did when you were little, and have your kids reenact it, or the family reenact it. And then they could put on a little play and skit of the whole story, and it could be a short little skit or a huge long play, and it could be something as little as, the pioneers coming across the plains or coming across the boat, or a great tragedy that happened in your family, or a spiritual moment that happened in your family tree. It could be any story or event that happened in your family, and have your kids just reenact it. Great way for them to put themselves in their ancestors' shoes and understand some of the emotions and feelings and things that happened. Number 8, hereditary traits. This one is also an educational one, and it's one I personally loved as a child and still love it as an adult. I totally love genetics. This is what this one is. There's some worksheets you can find online. I will try to put links to some of those worksheets down below. But have your kids go through and ask people in their family if they have any of these traits, such as they can roll their tongue, or if they have a widow's peak, or cleft chin, or what color of eyes they have, if they're right-handed or left-handed, and then have them compare these traits to themselves and figure out, where they got these traits from, where they got the traits of being a blue eyes, or having a widow's peak, or attached earlobes. These are all genetic traits that get passed down through the generations, and sometimes they can get it through one line of a family tree or through both sides of their family. It's just a fun, cool activity to figure out where and who they get their family traits from, and what traits got passed down to them and what ones didn't get passed down to their siblings. And it helps them learn genetics and help them learn how genetics works and how traits get passed down. I think this one's so cool and fun and fascinating. I just love genetics. Number 9, interview family members. So this one kind of sounds boring, you just interview family members. But this also could be really fun. You can have the kids pretend that they're on a TV talk show and have them start asking questions to their parents or grandparents, other family members. Interview them of what their childhood was like, what their favorite color is, what's their favorite thing to do, what was their most embarrassing moment, what's a lesson that they learned in life that has stuck with them. Any questions that you can think of. Have your kids interview them. They can either write these things down, or you can record it, have them record it on your phone. Familysearch actually has the Familysearch Memory app, where it has a list of questions and then a little record section, and you can record your answers to those questions and just have it go straight to Familysearch. I've actually done a video on that, and I will leave the link to that video in the description box below. But just have your kids interview people in your family. Just have them ask questions and record it and put it on Familysearch so that future generations can hear their voice or know their ancestors and know them on a personal level. This is something I wish I did before some of my grandparents and great-grandparents died, was just record their voice. To me, it doesn't matter if they answered a question or not. Just having their voice would have been an awesome keepsake. I'm going to try to not make that mistake in the future and record my family members' voices before they go. Number 10, family tree. So this one, you can make it as simple as you want or as extravagant as you want. It's just fill out a family tree, fill out a pedigree. You can either fill out with names, dates, or you can have it collect a story of each one of those people on the pedigree, or collect a photo of everybody on the pedigree. I've seen ones where people have collected handprints of everybody in their family, all their cousins, their aunts and uncles, and second cousins, and collected everybody's handprints and made a big giant tree out of everybody's handprints. I personally have collected photos of all my ancestors and have made a giant tree out of that. I've seen ones where people have collected the signature of everybody on their family tree, of their cousins and aunts and uncles and grandparents, and collected their signatures and made a tree out of everybody's signature. You can also do like a family tree timeline. So you can have all the events that happened in your family tree, such as when somebody got married or when somebody's born, and make a timeline out of that. And you can make that go back as far as you want. So this one, you can be as creative as you want or make it as simple as you want. You can also do extended family or just immediate direct line family. It's really up to you on how creative you want to be on creating your own family tree. So I hope this video was helpful and you guys enjoyed it. Reminder, there are links in the description box below of everything I talked about and some ideas. If you guys have any questions, please comment below. I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. If you guys have any suggestions on anything else I should film, please also comment below. And I hope you all have a beautiful week. Bye!